Tish.
And I'm Armani.
Tish.
And Armani.
TishAni7501.
And welcome to episode 1.
Yes.
So we're kind of newbies at this, I guess you can say. We've been trying to start this podcast forever, it seems like. But if you haven't guessed it, we're a mom and daughter duo. Guess who's the mom? Okay. You got right. And we just have a lot of conversations. Actually, before starting this episode, we were having a conversation because we were watching TV about something super serious. And we decided, if not now, then what's
when?
Yeah. You know?
If not now, when?
You know? If not
and we've been planning this. We've wrote down topics. We have had so many conversations where we said, we should have recorded this. This should have been an episode. And we're like,
No.
And we missed the opportunity.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Okay. I guess you can say that what you can expect to hear from us is raw and unfiltered. We're trying to be as proper as possible, but we're trying to give you the truth. And we want to know that whatever we're having conversations about is also being had in other rooms, in other families, in other mom and daughter duos. Like we were watching the show and we related so much to it, but also we were able to have a conversation from it because there was still so much from it that we didn't get. But in having a conversation between each other, I think there's 100% like an understanding of like, it's important for people to have these kind of conversations. Yes. It's important for parents and children to have these kind of conversations because it starts in your household and it goes from there, I feel like.
Yeah.
So
there's that safe space that hasn't been created, and not to tap in too much to the show that we were watching, but it was just we were having a discussion about sensitivity. Mm-hmm. And how from my daughter's generation down, you really can't say nothing without somebody's feelings being hurt or being incorrect.
Absolutely.
Which is part of the reason why we decided to do this podcast.
So we come from very, very far generations. I mean, 75.
01. So, and there's a lot of things that is socially accepted from my daughter's generation that was not in my generation. And
that adjustment period is definitely
still happening. And unfortunately or fortunately, y'all hear me say that a lot, is in my household, my children had a voice. And I was very open to hearing. I'm not going to say I always understood or related, but that's why you're here.
Yeah, that's why we're on this couch.
Is to have these conversations because I feel like, honestly, we've had some really, really strong, powerful conversations in our home.
Yeah. And
had some deep understanding that the world still doesn't have.
Yeah, for sure.
And I wanted to share that.
I think that's why it's so confusing when people see our relationship, like, in person. They're like, you sure that's your mom?
Yes. We get that a lot in public.
A
lot. Other than the fact that we all look alike and
she looks like she's 20.
Yeah, thank you. God has kept me. So, you want to introduce our topic of the night, our first topic for tonight?
One of the first topics, I think it kind of ties into the intro of this episode, was becoming friends with your child. I think it's important that as children, we vocalize the need and the want to understand your parents, to connect with your parents, to just like see them outside of them being your parents. At least that's what I've learned in my journey, is just like, I don't want to not know my mom. I don't want to hear my mom through other people, and then I don't want to not experience who that person is because I'm her child. I don't think that's fair to her. I don't think that's fair to me. But also, like, as we got older, I'm the youngest and the only child.
She's not the only child, but don't let her tell you that.
But being that I am the last and I'm the youngest and I'm 20, I'm not like 16 or anything. I'm growing into my young womanhood. So our relationship dynamic has shifted a lot in like just the last 3 years, I would say. And because of that, I think it's important that us as kids, or the children in the family, should start to kind of build those relationships and should be the starters in building those relationships. At least that's my personal opinion, because like had I not reached out to my mom and said, Mom, like I want to know who you are, like, and I see you for who you are. I don't see you as just my mom, not in a disrespectful way, but like I see you and I connect with you so well. There's no way I connect with you like you're my best friend or nothing, like if you're not my best friend. And a lot of parents, they like to separate those two, and I don't think it's fair, because like you are your own person at the end of the day, and you preach that to your kids, but then at the same time you put up these stereotypes and these walls to kind of separate the two of you. When in actuality, you know, the older you get, the more of a person you become and less of a child of that parent, if that makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense.
Individuality and adulting, and you transition. One of the things that the differences between our eras was, I grew up in that era where it was said a child should stay in a child's place. A child shouldn't speak unless they're spoken to. A child should, whatever. All of those isms. And honestly, you're sitting here, you can attest. Y'all had to stay in a child's place, but y'all had a voice.
Yeah.
Like it was different for them growing up, and I made sure I heard them. I had a rule.
I think it's a lesson of respect.
Yes.
And it's a lesson of authority, but also it's a lesson of maturity, because it wasn't around the age of 10 when I was like, I want to be best friends with my mom. No, I could not stand my mom at 10. I wanted to run away. But when I was like 16 and I was more getting towards that, I'm about to start making the adult decisions for myself, and I can go to mom, but it's ultimately up to me. That's when you start realizing, hey, I am my own self. And how did my mom get through this by herself, like in her 16-year-old self? And you want to go to her in that way. You don't want to go to her as like, Mom, I need your help, or as Mom, I need your understanding. And it's more like, Mom, I need your guidance in this. And I think you go to your friends when your boyfriend is cheating on you, or your boyfriend is not talking to you, or you go to your friends when one of the friends in the group is not, you know, really fit in the mold. So why can't you go to your parents, and the person you should trust the most,
who should value?
Yeah,
and I feel like that is a big piece that's missing in families. That's where the disconnect is. That's why we end up losing our children to the streets. We end up losing our children to losing their virginity early, or trying drugs and alcohol, because they can't process what they're maturing into, and they don't see how they can go to their parent, because their parent has boxed them out and said, you know, there's this level that you just can't come talk to me about this.
Absolutely.
Even when parents say, oh, they can talk to me about anything, but if you don't lay that foundation where they feel comfortable, because I think even in my household, I did a good job, but I feel like there were areas where I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the opportunity, and there has been some struggles over the years.
But I think being able to now come to you and be like, Mom, like, this is my issue that I had dealing with my own past and my own self-healing, or me growing up, I'm able to come to you differently than I would be at 16 when I was going through it, or 16 when I was experiencing it from you, as a parent standpoint, or your parenting. I don't feel, it's not about feeling comfortable, it's about feeling safe.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be comfortable around your parents all day, but are you safe with my truth?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and do you make me feel secure in who I am? Because at the end of the day, I'm still trying to find myself. And to us, you guys have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think by becoming friends with your parents.
Can I piggyback off of that?
Yeah.
Because you said you think we have.
Yeah.
And so
that's what I
want to tap into that because that is a big piece that's missing.
Yeah.
You're seeing it from a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old's perspective, and thank goodness we had an open house. Thank goodness I was transparent about a lot of things. So my kids got to understand, but they didn't understand to the magnitude, but they understood enough. And saying, oh, safe with who I am, safe with what I'm struggling with. And flipping that, as the parent, I'm doing everything. And, you know, as we do these, you guys will get to know our story and get to know my history and things of that nature. I wasn't equipped. I wasn't taught. I was healing while raising my children, and where they thought I had certain things together, I was figuring it out. And there's too many parents that aren't transparent with that piece.
Yeah.
They're not transparent with their children and say, I don't know. I'm trying the best I can. I made a mistake, or I didn't plan for this.
That vulnerability.
Right.
I think, like, a lot of parents, they practice vulnerability, like, oh, it's okay to cry, but, like, you know, or, you know, you have emotions, or come and talk to me about how you feel, but it's not, there's a certain vulnerability that we, as kids, I would see, like, we want from our parents. We want our parents to come to us. Like, as much as it might sound taboo, like, I want my mom to say, like, I had a bad day, can I talk to you about it? And it not be, oh, my mom is complaining about this, or, you know, it just be, okay, what do you need from me in this moment? And to be able to give that to my mom, the person who I trust and I love the most, the one who gave me life, the one who, you know, feeds me every day, takes me to school, irks my soul, all of that. And, you know,
like, she don't irk my soul.
But I think to have that vulnerability with your parents, to open that door to becoming friends, is the key that a lot of parents and children don't have. Like, it's a different type of vulnerability. Like, it's, you trust me, your child, with your truth.
Right.
And you're not looking at me as, you wouldn't understand because you're my kid. You're looking at me as, I just need someone to talk to. And I think that type of vulnerability is rare. And when you see it's hard. Because I used to think my mom was crybaby. Like, why are you crying all the time? And then as I learned her, and I started talking to her, I understood her emotions. And I understood my emotions through that. You know, like, why I don't cry as much. You know, why I don't, you know, show my emotions as much. And where she's emotional in that way, I'm emotional in other ways. But by her coming to me and in tears some nights, or in anger and frustration, it helps me to see her. Not mom, not parent, but Tish. And that's the goal for most people. I feel like it should be the goal. It should be the goal for most people in general. That not even parent child. That should be the
across the board.
Period. That's what we're reaching towards. Stop. You stop. See, she rubbing her toes on the table and it's making noise, and we just made the dog be quiet because she was making noise, so she's gonna start making noise.
She cannot. Can y'all hear that?
I'm pretty sure.
No, they can't hear that.
Yeah. See.
Sidebars, okay? But, you know, and that's the thing. It's just when people tend to say, oh, you shouldn't be friends with your children. I think your children should be your best friend, because they're with you through good days, bad days, sickness, heartache, happiness, accolades, loss of jobs, loss of friendships. How do you say, because I brought you in this world, I'm not supposed to be your friend. And I feel like people don't understand the true essence of what friendship is either, because it's not. My daughter doesn't have a lack of respect for me. My son doesn't have a lack of respect for me. No. My other daughter doesn't have a lack of respect for me. We all laugh and joke. We all sit and talk to each other on the phone. I consider my children not just my children, but my friends. And I know that's hard for some people to process, and that's hard for some people to understand. But as you see us interact, you will definitely say, that's something worth having. Because I know so many families, and mine's included, prior to my children, who aged out, became legal, and went and started living these separate lives, and the only time they see each other or socialize, Thanksgiving, Christmas, a wedding, a funeral. But that day-to-day, other than, oh, hey, what's going on, how you, it's so dry.
Yeah, there's no connection.
There's like, oh, let me do my checklist. I talk about this all the time. People want to check the box.
Well, how were you?
Are you okay?
How's your grades?
Yeah.
You know, like, just the list. The list. We all know the list.
We're not doing a true check-in. How are you mentally, emotionally, physically? What's going on with you? Where are you going? Are you happy with your life right now? If not, what's going on?
I think it's so strange because the saying that is, who are you? And this is not the child I've raised. Unfortunately, I have other siblings, even though I am the only child.
Y'all don't listen to her.
Unfortunately, I have other siblings, and I will say the friendship level is like all over the place when it comes to mom. And I have a sister who, she's my sister, but I've heard my mom vocally say, who are you? Like, this is not the kid I grew up in the household with. And I find that interesting because I sometimes find myself saying that. But then I also have to constantly remind myself she's becoming. You know, she is finding herself, and I think if I want to truly see her for who she is, I have to let go of my idea of what she's supposed to be. And I think becoming friends with your kids, you have to let go of that idea of friends, you know? Like, key, and you always get into it, and there's never a problem, and no one's holding anybody accountable. No, that's not what friendship is. Friendship is quite opposite of that.
Yes. Accountability.
It's deep.
It's, oh, shoosh.
It's raw. It's unfiltered. It's love, and it's a small little tiny bit of hatred. Because we all get on each other's nerves. We're in the same space. Like, if you're truly friends with someone, you're in their space a lot. And that allows you to truly see each other a lot. And I think that is so key. Like, for real. For real. People need to let go of that idea. Like, oh man, friends with my kids.
Well, you know.
Over 10. Who want to be friends with a 10-year-old?
Yeah, nah.
Wait till they're 16 or something.
There's levels to this thing. It transitions. I remember, you know, with her sister. My daughter, I decided to go and visit her at college. And that was the conversation we had, was the fact that I told her, I said, you know, the dynamics of our relationship is shifting. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm no longer in the season where I have to mommy you guys. So I have to take a step back and be that voice of wisdom, be that encourager, be that support, hold space, but allow you to figure it out. At this point, no, I'm not here to let my children fall on their face. I'm never going to do that.
But
as long as it's within
we all have to make mistakes.
As long as it's in my wheelhouse, I'm not going to let you fall flat on your face, but I have to allow you to become your person.
To live.
I have to allow you, because also that helps shape you and who you're becoming.
Absolutely.
So
that goes into our next topic, which is living together as mom and daughter.
I'm gonna start with this one. I'm gonna start this one because, like she said, she's 20, and we were preparing for her to be in a whole nother country. She shouldn't even be here. Story. We'll touch that on a different day. But, even with that not happening, we recently relocated again. We'll talk about that too later. But in this transition, this second relocation, I had to go through something myself. Because technically, I live with my daughter. She no longer lives with me. Yes, we're here together. We share some of the bills, but technically, I live with her, which was something that rocked me, shook me. I really, really struggled with, because that was just not how my mind was set up. That wasn't how I was raised. I wasn't raised, but how I grew up. And one of the few one of the few conversations we had in this transition was other cultures.
Yeah.
How it's normal in other cultures for one of the children to take the parent.
Step up, yeah.
And even biblically, it's
a thing.
It's what is supposed to happen. But for whatever reason in our culture, that doesn't happen that often without a parent being sick.
That or a child being born, basically. Like, eventually, or there being just issues, like with parental issues with a rebellious child who moved out, got their own, and mom wants a piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mom wants to leech off of that. And unfortunately, we have an example of that in our family.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also hearing each other and what each other's wants and needs are. I wanted to always take care of my mom. I wanted to always build her a house, and I wanted to always provide for her. I wanted to become so successful that she didn't have to work another day in her life. That was my dream. And I know it's still possible. It's going to happen. It is happening.
It's happening as we speak.
But it was one of those things, like, I actively told my mom, I'm going to buy you a house.
You're going to stay with me.
And I'm not leaving. Like, it was never that issue.
I don't know how she was planning that, living in another country, but...
She was coming. Remember, you were coming.
I sure was.
She just had to get her visa, so...
I sure was.
Her passport. I messed up my visa.
Yes, that's why she's here. But, living together, a lot of times I think somebody, I can't remember who, asked me, well, what if you want to bring a date home? And I said, okay. We live on opposite sides of that apartment. I said, but at the end of the day, we have respect. So, no, neither one of us are running in and out with people, running in and out.
She literally runs a business full time, and I go to work full time. And on my off days,
we spend together.
Or she's doing something else, and I'm just minding my business. I'm not worried about her running in and out, even if she is running in and out, because sometimes that's the duty calls. But I don't care. She's grown.
Right.
She's grown, and she's my mom. She's raised me pretty well. I'm doing pretty okay for myself. So, why would I have an opinion? Now, if it's bothering my livelihood, my health, my stress level, my sleeping pattern, then I'm going to say something. But that's none of your business to know. It really isn't. To the person who has the question, it's none of your business.
And that's the thing. We do is working for our family.
Yeah.
I never, in my job, in my work, I might as well say, because it's a business, I work with people and I show them how to remove labels and address their triggers and to respond and not react. Because if I sat up here and reacted to everything and everybody's opinion, I wouldn't be where I am today. That we talked about self-healing in the last topic, and this is a part of that living together where it's not a burden.
Mm-hmm. And in this, like, y'all don't understand, this is guidance, literally. Like, I've had a few hiccups. I've had bills I didn't know in. I didn't know that I didn't read the rest of the lease, you know, to see the extra financing I went into it. So, you know, I'm still learning, and I think that's what a lot of teens, kids, anybody, they need someone to walk them through it and still give them their space to do it. And then when stuff hits the fan, you can come back together and say, help me out, please. And then what can we do? And then we're starting from ground zero again. And then, but that's just that openness. You have to have that openness to say, and then you can have mom who says, okay, I'll take it over. Or I'll move. That's when you're able to parent.
Step up.
As well. That's also when you're able to parent. Yeah. But from your life experience, you're able to be that friend. To be able to be like, friend, I got you. You know how your friends be. Friend, I got the bill this time. You know, that gives you both kind of legs into the relationship in a way. And I think that's powerful.
Yeah. And it also, one of the, and to bring up our other child, sibling, that a college student. As a college student, your main priority is school and learning yourself. Armani didn't go to college. She decided to work in her field. So she is not just still cultivating her gift and her business, but she's also working within her field to pick up other skills that is needed for her career. Mm-hmm. And even with that, it's like, this is the season. And we've had those conversations about her being in the workforce.
Mm-hmm. I've always wanted a job, by the way.
And has gotten them like that, y'all. She's the only person I know can walk in the job and start the next day. Like, literally, off the street. Well, no, all three of my children can do it. I don't know. But I don't know what I did. Don't ask me. But I don't know.
Now, we might not like the job, but we'll get the job. And we'll
time.
Work dang good and hard.
Every time. But you know, living together, and that was that whole piece with, back to what I was saying about the college student, was enjoy it. See, because when I was in college, I had children. I had a house to run. I worked full time. So do it the proper way. I raised my kids in a home where I said, don't be like me, do better than me. And I wholeheartedly mean that. And I sacrificed for them to have this opportunity. I sacrificed a lot for her to be able to go to another country and come home. I sacrificed a lot for her to actually walk in her purpose at the age of 8. She would, those fights there. We'll talk about them too. But even my son, he played instruments. He traveled with the school. He was in and out of the state.
But he still makes his own decisions.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of living with your kids, is letting them make their own decisions. Because it reflects. It truly does. I think, like, she gets on me about my cleanliness. I'm not a messy person by choice. I'm a messy person because of my my state of being. I guess you can say I'm an artist and creative, you know.
Yeah.
If it's clean, I can't find it. But where I put it, I can find it. So that's why I clean up all the time. But when I leave the house, I know I'm not the same way. Or when I'm not in my space, I'm not the same way. But I know how to too as well to correct those behaviors because of my upbringing. But also she acknowledged that like my mess sometimes isn't my mess. Like it's my chaos. You know, we're all walking chaos. There's a movie called Walking Chaos. You have to see it. It's about like you can hear all of the men's thoughts and all the women you can hear. So it's like they're walking chaos. Anything they think, we can hear it all. And I think if we all had that, we would truly understand why people are the way they are. But like even like just living with your parents, like it's not easy because you're trying to find your own, and then you're also trying to not jump too far because you've seen, especially if you have friends. That's the thing. If you have friends who have done that route, gone that route, who've completely abandoned shit and have gone out on their own, no job, not in college, just
gone,
just doing whatever with whoever and couch surfing. Like we have friends, and I don't want to say we look down upon that, but we see what it's creating and what it's affecting and what it's not helping. And I think to have that opportunity to live with your parent, not just, you know, be the child and my mom pays the rent, like, but to live with your parent, to
cohabitate.
Yeah. This is your space. This is my space. This is your fork. This is my fork. Who's taking the trash out, you or me?
Never her. I got you, Mom. I'm going to take it out. Did you take the trash out?
Not yet.
See?
It's not full yet. But it's just one of those things like you're able to do things. Oh, who's buying groceries? Who's putting the bill? Like, who got next? Like, I think those things, that's fun, especially if you have a stable parent to guide you. And it's like, oh yeah, I got this. It's like, you just don't know. Like, I know you don't have it, but I'm gonna let you do this, you know? And I think that's just one of the lucky things I guess I get to have with my mom, is just like to have that experience of living with her. And, you know, like we're looking to buy a home, and that process, like I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it, but I'm just going with the flow. But 2 years in,
she's stressing me out, y'all.
I didn't realize, you know, I was like, I'm gonna build a house. Shoot, buying a house in itself is hard. Financing, understanding leasing, and loaning, and Jesus, and renting to owning, and renting, and
down
payments, and loans, and ignorant people, agents, and this person and that person, and this program, that program, and this fund, this money, and that money. Oh my gosh, like buying a home is extremely difficult, but to say that I'm doing it with someone who's owned a home, number one, but I'm also doing it with someone who's also realizing that this is my ground zero too. Like, you know, we're in this together. It's been 20 years since you've owned a home, and it's been 20 years since I've never owned a home.
Please don't pay her no attention.
So, you know, it's a two-way street.
And then and for me, I'm at a stage where I have done the hard work. I ain't gonna say it's gonna get easier, but I've raised my family. So now it's about me building legacy and instilling in them and taking that up a level, because now I'm showing them. I've always shown them the entrepreneur side and the work ethic and the integrity side. Now I get the opportunity to show them how to really build true legacy and wealth and generational wealth, because now I don't have to make those major sacrifices that I made while I was raising them. Because
kids are expensive.
Yes, especially when they think money grows on trees. Mom got this.
No,
even
everyone
when
thought
Mom
we were
says,
rich.
I don't have this, they be like, she'll figure it
That's
out.
because she went to bingo all the time. We always knew she was rich because she went to bingo all the time.
They didn't know. Bingo paid some bills for them.
But it's okay because you still got them.
But the thing about it is, we're laughing and joking, but it was real. I worked multiple jobs so my kids didn't have to sacrifice. I always had
I got a full-time job just to buy a house. See, I'm not in the house yet.
I had to, do some type of
sacrifices.
A whole bunch of them.
Sacrifices for the things that you want.
Because you have to work for it. Mm-hmm. You have to be willing to put the work in. A lot of people want the blessing and don't want the work. They don't want to make the sacrifices.
And they're not really sacrifices. They're just lessons.
Mm-hmm.
They're just tough.
Some of them are. Because
some of them are sacrifices. I feel like, yes, some of them are. But to say that 90% of them are sacrifices would be a lie.
Oh, no.
Because some of those are your choices, too.
Mm-hmm. I made the choice.
Yeah.
I made the choice. Because I could have did what so many people have done in the past. They married up.
Married in. Hold up.
That part.
Pimped in.
That part. They could have went without. We could have just did
Gave up your kids.
You could have did the next best thing, and because I wanted them to have a better quality of life, these were the choices that I made, and I stood in and on those choices. We moved the first transition.
It was from one side of the
from
north
one
side.
Coast.
Well, first transition was moving from down the street.
To
our other house
Russell.
Because I don't know. I said it was like we one day woke up and we decided to move, and it was like, why are we leaving our house? Like, it was our home. That was a big transition. There was so many memories there, and to go from one extreme to another extreme, and then as a kid, it was like, okay, what is going on? And then things weren't the same. Christmases weren't the same. Family, holidays weren't the same. And that's when I was like, okay, am I living with my mom? What's going on? And then my mom, the older we got, the more honest she got with, the light's going to be off for a day or two. Or the cable's going to be off for an hour or two. Mom's going to have to go out and figure this out. Or, if something happened, we had to call her and be like, Mom, what's going on? These were things that, as we got older, living with my mom was more, we understood. We knew how to write checks. We knew how to make deposits. Because it wasn't because, that was the thing to do with your kid. That was a necessity sometimes. It was sometimes you need to learn how to answer the phone and say, she's not home. You need to learn how to type in my PIN number because I'm too busy trying to make sure I can make things move and shake and for us to have these $500 groceries, 7 carts. Or filling up the gas, even pitching in for gas money. The older we got, we would pitch in for gas money. And it wasn't that mom paying all these bills. We started seeing the numbers. We started seeing the truths. We started seeing the realities of creating a household. And like I said, the home buying process just opened my eyes even more. But knowing the magnitude of that, and I know some parents, I don't want to put that weight on my kids, but it's important in a way because it showed me how to manage my money a little bit differently. It showed me what priorities were different. It showed me how to learn what a grace period is. And it showed me what I needed to do earlier in my life so I don't have to pay for those mistakes later in my life. Debt. I don't have any debt. I didn't go to college.
But that's not the only reason why she don't have debt.
I don't have debt because I don't have debt. I've learned from my mom. I've even learned from my sister because she has a loan or two. She's in college, and I don't say I have good credit, but I know about my credit. I know how to raise my credit. I know how to pay my credit card bills on time. And I know not to. I have good credit.
It's not excellent.
It's not excellent.
It's good in there.
Hold on. It's high.
It's getting there. I told my kid, okay.
I don't look on my
y'all can get mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. My credit can stay messed up for the rest of my life as long as my kids' credit stays good.
And that is okay, because I'll take care of her.
And the reason why I say that is because I taught them how to establish their credit.
Yeah.
And because I taught them how to establish their credit, I'm going to help them make sure that their credit stays good. Why? Because I wasn't given that. I was not given that. So when I had my children and when I was raising my children, those were part of those sacrifices that I had to make. I had to miss a car note. I had to let my insurance lapse so they could go on them trips, or so they could get them shoes, or so school for 3 kids. And my son wore a size 12 at the age of 12.
We were the same size for a long time. And the same clothes. We weren't twins, by the way.
Yeah, she's talking about her sister. She's talking about her sister.
But I think that segues into our last topic of the conversation for this episode, which is, does age matter when it comes to wisdom? Like, does it? And I would say no, because wisdom is not just knowing things, it's understanding things, it's being able to emote emotions about things, it's being able to express things, and that categorizes one word into what you think it is. I don't think it matters.
And okay, so
you have wisdom in things, but to say that
you have that's where I was going to say.
It's not true.
Because your wisdom should always be evolving and growing.
But a lot of people confuse wisdom with authority.
And my thing is, one of the things that I have been, and so has my daughter, we have been looked at as, oh, you don't know. And because you're looking at my age, or you're looking at my status, or you're looking at my stature, and you are assuming that I don't know until I open my mouth, and then you realize, I'm going to take y'all back to the Bible. God used a rock. And he says in the Bible, out of the mouth of babes, if they're telling you in the Bible that wisdom can be in a child, then why do you not believe that? I'm the first person to tell people you need to listen to your children. Because if somebody walks in that room and your child breaks out screaming and hollering, that child knows something. They might not be able to articulate it, but they know. And you need to pay attention to that. And find out what's going on, because they pick it up not just from that person's interaction, but from the spirit.
I think people weaponize wisdom too.
Yes.
Instead of wisdom is like a tour guide, basically.
Yeah.
You're not. It's free. If you want it, you can come and get it. If you don't want it, it's okay. I still got it. You know, the information's there. But to weaponize it and say, I'm your superior, so you have to listen to what I say instead of helping me understand what you're saying or helping me understand what you're doing, you just want to order me around. And then I'm walking around lost the whole time. And you're Mr. So-called or Mrs. So-called wise. Is that really wise? And I'm thinking you're rude and ignorant and mean and nasty.
Ooh, wait.
And
you just said something right there. We talk about this. Me and her have this conversation all the time. Because even the ones that are older than me, you young kids, this, and it's this, and this. And a lot of the times I can brush it off. I can brush it off where this one right here. Oh my Lord.
God's still working on me. I'm 20.
Oh my Lord. Because see, the thing about it is, I've had people flat out tell my daughter, you haven't lived long enough. You don't know my daughter. Don't talk about what she knows and what she don't know, because you're looking at her number and her age.
Or the underestimation of me.
Exactly. You don't know what she knows, but you're quick to judge. And that's so many people, not in society, that want to pass judgment. Think about it. When we sit here, you know how we be talking about the homeless and the addicts. You so quick to judge them. and say that they're this, they're that.
But words from the wise, it's not a choice most of the time.
Yes.
Homelessness is not a choice.
It's not. Nobody wakes up and say, I want to be an addict today.
Yeah, no. I mean,
I think today I want to be an alcoholic.
I want to be abused and pimped out.
Yeah.
No one wakes up.
I want to go
and
stand on the corner and sell my body. Or
for a roof over my
how
head.
about this? I want to go sell drugs and go to jail.
For a roof over my head.
Nobody says that.
Yeah.
But because society has become, and we did the whole money thing, they get money from that. They get money
the
from
Met Gala, for instance, $35,000 a plate as a single person, $250 almost $1,000 if you want to bring a guest. I understand you're donating, but there were people right outside the Met Gala protesting poverty because you're showing art on stolen land. Mm-hmm. You know, so do you really care? Are you really wise? Are you doing something for the people? No.
Okay. Are we going to talk about New York, the Fashion Week?
I mean, New York Fashion Week. Literally. A hurricane touched down a day before.
And they still went.
And you still went to New York and pranced on a runway and showed up in your best dress when people don't got power. When the views you looking for, words from the wise, do better. Do better. Because it's not about you. When you're wise, it's never about you. Because you hold on to that wisdom, it ain't no longer going to be wisdom anymore. That's just that. Because who are you teaching? Who are you learning from? If you're not sharing that wisdom, if you're not you're not giving that. Wisdom is a gift. And it can be taken back. Because it will be thrown in your face. It's just as quick as you can say, I don't have it. You can sit there and say, well, I went to school for computer science, so I know how to code. Well, I know how to set up an iPhone. Do you? Boo? That don't work no more. You know, like, learn from us.
You have to evolve
like this lady I worked with. She said, don't tell me how to work my phone. I work it how I want to work it. But when you ask me a question about your phone, remember what you said. Don't tell me about it because you know how to work it.
You work it the way you want to
work it.
And I'm the very, very, very opposite. I run in the room. Fix this.
And I'm like, I don't know. But we're going to figure this out together. And then I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to have to tell you again like 20 minutes later.
And look. And then, how about the device we're recording on? I wanted that. And I caught it in the mail. And I said, what?
I said, stop ordering stuff, first of all.
But it's for both of us. And then I said, what?
I don't need to make podcast.
No, and then I also told her, I need you to play with this and figure it out and show me.
And I said, oh, okay, sure.
And she didn't. But here we are tonight. Here we are. And it's only been less than a week.
Since we recorded it, yeah.
So, and we figured it out. And it's looking really good, y'all. It's looking really good.
It looks amazing.
I'm so happy with this purchase because we needed it.
I'm happy with a lot of my purchases. But I think to say, does age matter when it comes to wisdom, is a big fat no. It's a big fat no to me. It's a no-brainer. Because wisdom isn't everything. You could be wise throwing a rock. And I'd be like, how you do that? And you're like, it's just in the way. And it just, I'm saying how you do that, how you look like that when you did it, how you move your wrist like that, how you position it, how your rump look like that when it's in the sky. I'm asking you how you did that like that because I want to be you, like type wisdom. Like, I think to categorize wisdom, and I think that's why it's so important for us to have this podcast, is because this is wisdom.
Yes.
we're not talking about this because we read it in a freaking book or we went to school and studied it. You know, we're talking about this because we're experiencing it and still experiencing it, and we're sharing it and hoping that
where we have people on one hand say you're super wise, we have those same people that say you haven't lived long enough. And
you're a child.
First of all,
my mom's how old are you? I'm gonna say you're 42. I don't even know how old she is. Moses. Well, I'm Abraham. He's like 500 years old.
Anyway, so, you know, when we talk about wisdom, you have to, I get so tired of explaining this. You have to use it in the proper context. There are times in our interactions where I be like, Armani, you do have to remember, you're only 20.
Yeah, and I'd be like, I'm only 20 sometimes too.
Because there are things that she is still naive in. Does that mean she doesn't have any wisdom? No. It just means you haven't had that experience to add or to that situation.
And the awareness.
It's the awareness. It's the
because you can be told something and not be aware of it.
Exactly.
You can be told he's a cheater, he's a liar, and he lied to you and cheated in front of you, and you're just not aware of it because you just choose not to be.
You don't see it.
Or you haven't experienced it yet to be made aware of it.
And because you haven't experienced it.
But then you got people who like try to give wisdom, and it's just like
such a mess.
It's like, like I've had people come up to me and just think that they're talking to me like, oh yeah, you're speaking it to me, and you're telling me all the right things, and I'm like, if you would have just let me talk.
You would have done
this. I knew these things. Like,
you wouldn't even have to waste.
You would have known me. You wouldn't come up to me with this expectation of who you thought I was because of my age.
Oh, she's used another one of my words, y'all. Expectations and labels. Here we go. Oh, you're only 20. Let me come and teach you something. You're going to learn today.
Sure.
Look, you're going to learn today. How many times even at your job right now, how many times have they walked up to you?
Oh, they think I'm really dumb.
I mean, no, but learn from you.
Yeah, for sure.
How many times and we're talking about people older than me, y'all.
And I think the problem is a lot of people who think they're wise, they don't ask enough questions.
And then on top of that part,
a lot of people who think they're wise.
That right there. We got to come up with a ding, something. Because she said something right there, y'all. She said again.
A lot of people who think they're wise don't ask enough questions.
And that's where the key of wisdom. You got to get understanding. So, I had a daughter. It wasn't that daughter. Her favorite thing growing up was, "'Cause why?" Everything that you said to her was,
"'Cause why?"
"'Cause why?" And she was so sincere, and she really wanted to know. She wanted to know, "'Cause why?" They didn't go together, but she still, her mind, I'm going to ask. And she's, to this day, she's 21 years old. She will argue you down.
It's because, and then why? You can't just say something like, oh, yeah, like, I don't like you because, and just leave it at that.
She'd be like, "'Cause why?" And you'd be like, "Oh, go take this and go do this." "'Cause why?" You could be explaining everything to her. She's still going to sit there and say, "'Cause why?" And she still doesn't. That's the funny thing. And my thing is, ask. You cannot get revelation. You cannot get understanding if you don't ask. And I'm a "'cause why" girl, but I didn't say "'cause why." That's her word.
Mine is, I have a question. So, and that's usually how on my other hand.
That's me.
And it's funny. Everyone hates it. But I will ask until I
understand.
I don't care if there's 10 other people in the room and they're like, "Okay, can you stop asking?" No, because I'm asking the questions you should be asking most of the time. And then I'm asking questions that sometimes need to be asked. And if they're not asked, then the answers are not given, and then you're walking in void.
And you're making assumptions.
Confused. Yeah. Like,
you got to go with your best assumption, and a lot of the times, if you just ask that question, why, one more time, you could get to the source of a thing. Mm-hmm. Like even this whole thing that we're doing.
A lot of people will be like, why are you doing a podcast? There are thousands of other podcasts and thousands of other duos who claim to be giving whatever they're giving. You know, what are you bringing to the table? Or, you know, what conversations are being had that, you know, in reference haven't been had before. Because it's not me and it's not my mom. And if you choose to listen, if you choose to hear, and what you pull from it might not be what someone else pulled from it, and what you pull from somebody else's word might not be what you. Why do you think TD Jakes is popular? Because everybody got a pastor, but everybody know TD Jakes.
That part.
Because you can still learn from any and everybody
if you choose to.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm big on this choice thing. Y'all hear me talk about it a lot. Because even when you don't make a choice, you've made a choice.
You've made a choice.
If you made a choice to be in ignorance, you're going to continue to walk through life in ignorance. If you make a choice to get understanding, you will find what you're seeking. If you're choosing to say you're not wise, you're going to find all the reasons why she's not.
Then I would reflect the question back to you and say, what makes you wise? And if you can only give me age as a reason, buddy, you got a lot of studying to do. Because books are older than you that don't make sense.
A whole lot.
Remember the earth was flat?
Oh, yeah, that was hilarious.
And it might be, but we never know if you ain't never been in space. Oh, but we don't even got the footage from that. So it's like, like, did we really go?
They took it.
But we're wise enough to trust and believe.
Oh, they trust science.
Yeah. Which science makes sense.
It's a numbers game.
Science makes sense, but
and
why make it a religion if it's a practice?
Thank you.
That we all share. Why make it a religion if it's something that's a part of us all? And I think that's like, you just have to understand where's the wisdom in that. Now, I would be like, that would be a project for people. Where is the wisdom in that? Whatever your question is, whatever you're questioning, go into it. Even starting this new chapter with your parents, maybe. Or parent your child. Where's the wisdom in becoming friends with my kid? Where's the wisdom in walking through living processes with your kid? I would be like, that would be a great question. Where's the wisdom in that? Because, like I said, remember we said wisdom has no bounds.
Yes.
It has no pedestal. So it can wear different faces, many names, different reasons. So where's the wisdom in that?
And that's the whole thing, is where we evolving to.
But I think this is it. I think we made it through episode 1.
Ooh, yay, God, we did it! And thank you for joining us on what?
TishAni7501. No, but I think we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think this episode is like just the beginning.
Yes.
And I appreciate the time to even have moments like this where we can sit down and still talk. Because, I mean, these aren't conversations that we haven't had.
Mm-hmm.
We've had them. But the maturity level has changed.
Mm-hmm.
The perspective has changed. But also the availability has changed to have these conversations.
Yes. So
I'm proud of us.
I am too. We did it. We've been talking about it for a while, y'all. Yeah. And I'm so proud of us being able to be authentic with you guys. And I want y'all to, connect with us. Reach out to us. Because as you see, we go deep. We laugh. We joke. I'm pretty sure we're going to have some crying moments on here because there's so many topics that we touch on and deal with that is pertinent in what's going on in life.
Absolutely.
And we just want to connect with you guys. We want you to see that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're open and you're willing. So I am so grateful and I so appreciate you guys spending this time with us. And I hope that you come back and join us again as we do this.
Episode 2. It's going to be a juicy one.
Yes.
I'm not sure, but I can guarantee you we'll try.
We got you. We got you covered.